Okay, it's about time I finally make this video. It's not animated. Nope, it's just me reading off a script slash story. I'm gonna hate this. I'm not the best at reading at all, so we better hope I do this correctly. So remove this. So okay, got it. Get this dang thing started and out of the way. I, I'm so happy I got this made. All right, who's everyone ready? Who's everyone? It's just me. All right. Let's get this started. Winteress' story. The year is 2005. Jasper Genetics was bringing back dinosaurs. Many upon many has been made. The year is 2011. The first ever hybrid is made. Empress Tiamatus, using the DNA of the Spinosaurus, Axolotl, Siamosaurus, Ichthyovenator, Ceratosaurus, Giganotosaurus, saltwater crocodile, and Dinochirus, alongside the Maposaurus. I don't know why I said Dinochirus, it's Maposaurus. Her powerful legs from the Maposaurus allow her to run very fast. It was seen to be around 2000, no, around 28 to 34 miles per hour, or even faster, but most likely due to the Siamosaurus sail on her back, she was most likely a little slower. The axolotl DNA allows her to regenerate lost limbs, but quite slowly, and the crest of the Maposaurus is very visible, being bluish in coloration. Her arms are short, and the scientists don't know why. Her due to the Dinochirus being in the DNA. Her tail has massive spikes on top and under the tail, basically covering it. The coloration was a darkish gray from the crocodile DNA. And the massive horn of the Ceratosaurus alongside the Maposaurus crest allows her to have a very powerful headbutt. Her head was all red, with yellowish angry eyes. A mostly blue torso with orange coloring on top, and an orange tail. Her sail is gray with orange stripes, being the most colorful part of her outside her head. Her horn on her head is mostly blue with a white top, making it look like a mountain. She has pink axolotl frills with purplish coloration, and part of her tail has some armor that has the same coloration as her horn. This armor is most likely from Giganotosaurus. Her legs are lightish brown or tan, with gray light stripes or colorations. That's how she was known. The frills allow her to detect sounds and movements most other creatures couldn't. Her powerful jaws of the Spinosaurus were the main feature of her head. The scientists were confused on why. Only the crest of the Maposaurus was there. No other genes of the Maposaurus, which was meant to go into her jaw structure. Her arms are a red with a lightish blue coloration. In the year 2017, she broke out of her enclosure and rampaged through the other man-made biomes for many of the other dinosaurs, through Dreadnoughtus to smaller dinosaurs like Dilophosaurus. And then she broke free into none other than the Italian Alps, where she would live. She was quite short, around 13 to 15 feet at her hips, but without the confined environment of her enclosure, she got to grow even more. She found a home inside of a cave. And for food, she hunted many animals from the Italian Alps, like the Alpine marmot, the chamos, if I said that correctly, and the ibex, and the bears of the region were her main source of food. In the year 2019, she encountered something while wandering through the forest at night. Something tall, starved, and lanky. It was skeletal-like. It had antlers. It would stand hunched, but like a human. A deer skull for a face. It was the mythical legend of the Wendigo. It laughed at her. Its laugh was dry sounding. But she wasn't like the other dinosaurs. She was smart. Too smart. The lips of her mouth opened just a little, forming a smile. But it still laughed. It wasn't like anything else she saw or hunted. It was around her height, maybe taller. The laugh sounded dry, raspy, maybe even evil. But the way she smiled, her bloody teeth, didn't scare it. It only seemed to scare animals and the poachers that hunted her down. She, for the first time, felt fear. The Empress, Winteress, felt fear for the first time. She took a step back, but it took a step forward. Then it roared. No, that wasn't a roar. It screamed. She lunged at it, biting its arm. She twisted it over and over and over, but nothing. No snap, no break. It looked down at her. It laughed again. She slammed its skull like face into the top of her head, knocking her down. She used her tail to whip it in the face. The spikes dislocated the Wendigo's jaw, but he snapped it back into place with ease. Then the Wendigo rolled her over and bit her sail. She screamed. She didn't roar. She screamed. It was pain. It jumped on her. Then it started to scratch, punch, bite. This was it. Winteress was dying. As her vision blurred, something incredible happened. Everything around her turned red. She roared, flinging it off of her into a tree. The tree had so much force thrown into it, part of the tree snapped and fell. Then she went on all fours, her small but powerful arms carrying her in the snow-covered ground. Then she ran at the Wendigo again. She bit its arm, tearing it off with ease. Then she grabbed it and bit onto his neck. And then, out of nowhere, seems like maybe the crocodilian DNA allowed her to death roll him, breaking many of its bones, but it got back up and threw her. But she disappeared. He looked around, confused. Did she disappear? Run away? But then, from underneath him, the snow collapsed. She dragged him under the snow and continued to fight him. Then she jumped out with him in her mouth and she tossed him into another tree. This time, the entire tree fell. It couldn't move. It was paralyzed. Then she rammed into him with her horn and crest. A powerful headbutt allowed her to get a good grip of its skeletal head and ripped the head off. She threw it and stood on the body, and she roared in victory. She won. She was bleeding bad. She couldn't rush to her cave or she would get herself even more weak. She weakly walked back to her cave instead. Once arriving, she laid down on the surface of her warm cave and shut her eyes. Days went by. She didn't awake, but something else incredible happened. The axolotl DNA, something so insignificant, decided to kick in. The DNA allowed her to evolve. The Dino genes kicked in, giving her arms a way muscular look and being way longer. She gained a faint green pattern on her torso on the orange, white stripes on her neck and the bluish parts of her torso, and then black stripes on her torso like a tiger, and on her tail. White coloration on her legs appeared. The Maposaurus genes finally kicked in. In her jaw, where it was meant to be, the jaw became bulkier, wider, stronger. On her neck, small, faint spikes, reminiscent of the Giganotosaurus, formed. Her tail, elongated, now ending in a whip. Her tail, the middle and end, that was covered in the gray spikes, now had a bluish coloration on them. For once, she lived up to her name. She always had, but now she was a true empress, a true emperor. Now, with her newfound form, she hunts with ease. Everything around her is terrified. The pads on her feet now made it even harder to hear her coming. Then, she would be able to hunt everything with her newfound height, from 16 to 20 feet at the hips. Now, her arms became more useful for grabbing prey, and it was told through other towns in the Alps, or near the Alps, that she has been breaking windows and grabbing people out of their homes for food. Whatever it takes for her to be well fed. Later on, the year was 2024. Now 13 years old, her aging was different but similar to theropods. She was now 27 in peak condition. Jasper Genetics was looking for her everywhere, found her tracks and everything. But then they found a skeleton decaying. It was a skeleton that they didn't know. For her, she could easily tell it was the terrifying creature of the Wendigo, but they didn't know. So the humans from Jasper Genetics called the skeleton of the Wendigo Monster G, or Asset 8700. They saw the marks left by Winteress, and they took it back for research. The original goal was to find her and recapture her, but someone in the group named Jane told them it was best to leave her alone, to let her live out her life in peace. The end. Or was it? Because in the year 2025, on the 6th of August, Jane said to Jacob, "Hey Jacob, Winteress is missing." Jacob looked up at her and said, "What do you mean? We have a radar." "That's the thing," Jane responded. "We've spotted something new on the radar. The radar picked something up that was never there." Jacob asked her to let him see, so she did. The dot was moving. "It was labeled the A Rex," she said. "And it still is," he noticed. She continued, saying, "We looked into it and we found its name, the Atrocity Rex. It seems to be moving towards the last place Winteress was seen on the radar, but it's moving quick." Jacob said maybe we shouldn't intervene and see what happens next. And finally, that was her story. It took me months to actually go and make it, and for once it's my first scripted video. I honestly had so much fun making this, and I very much hope that whoever watches this also enjoyed it, because I'm going to be taking it even farther with the help of someone.